The shuttle hummed as it descended through the lavender clouds of Zoria. The planet's surface stretched below them like a painting from a dream. Crystalline towers that shimmered in the sunlight, forests that glowed faintly with bioluminescent plants, and rivers that reflected the sky in colors that Earth had no names for. Humans had visited many worlds in the past decades, but this one felt different. There was something alive in its beauty, something that made even the most experienced explorers hold their breath. Ambassador Ethan Carter adjusted his tie, though it was largely symbolic in the humid, fragrant air of the shuttle. He had been chosen for this mission because of his calm presence and his talent for diplomacy, though he knew that no amount of training could fully prepare him for alien curiosity. Behind him, the rest of the delegation fidgeted quietly, some awed by the scenery, others more wary. "Remember, everyone," Ethan said, "Zoria's a delicate place. They value honesty, but they also value respect for their culture. One misstep, and a friendly exchange could become a diplomatic disaster." The shuttle landed on a floating platform that seemed to hover above a glowing river, its supports invisible to the naked eye. As the doors opened, a wave of warm, fragrant air washed over them. The humans stepped out onto the platform, marveling at the alien flora. Trees with translucent leaves swayed gently in a wind they could not feel. The platform itself pulsed faintly, responding to their weight. And then they saw her, Princess Elara. She descended a set of stairs carved from a single giant crystal, her movements graceful and deliberate. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, but lit from within, giving her an ethereal glow. Her eyes were large, golden, and filled with curiosity. She moved with the poise of someone accustomed to attention, yet there was an unmistakable spark of excitement in her gaze.
"Welcome, humans," she said, her voice melodic, carrying a tone of genuine interest. "I am Princess Elara."
"I have waited long to meet your species." Ethan stepped forward, bowing slightly. "Your Highness, it is an honor. We come in friendship and hope for mutual understanding." The princess's eyes flicked over each member of the delegation, taking in their appearances, their movements, even their subtle expressions. She paused on Ethan for a moment longer, tilting her head as if weighing him. Then, with a smile that was both playful and serious, she spoke. "I have heard much about humans," she said, and then, leaning slightly closer as if sharing a secret, she asked, "How often can humans mate?" The question landed like a thunderclap in the quiet of the crystalline plaza. A few members of the delegation stiffened, some blushed, and a junior aide looked ready to faint. Ethan blinked, then forced a calm smile. This was diplomacy, he reminded himself. Every question, no matter how strange, was part of their mission. "Your Highness," he said carefully, "humans reproduce in various ways depending on biology, culture, and individual choice. It is not a simple matter of frequency. It depends on many factors." Elara's eyes widened slightly, clearly intrigued. "Factors? Interesting. Please elaborate." Ethan felt a mix of nervousness and determination. He had to answer truthfully, but also in a way that would not offend. Biologically, humans are capable of reproduction at regular intervals once they reach maturity. But humans also form emotional and social bonds that influence when and how often reproduction occurs. Our species has a unique balance of biology, emotion, and culture. "We are adaptable." The princess laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. "Adaptable. I like that. Your species is different? Rare? Interesting. We reproduce only once in our lifetimes, and the process is ritualized and controlled. Yet you multiply freely with both spontaneity and choice. How curious." Ethan allowed himself a small smile. "Yes, Your Highness. That combination has allowed humans to survive, thrive, and adapt to many environments. We are unpredictable, but resilient. And that unpredictability is part of our strength. Alara's gaze lingered on him. Resilient, I sense, much more than you admit. Tell me, Ambassador, is this unpredictability a matter of biology or something deeper? A spirit, perhaps? Ethan chuckled lightly, the tension easing. I suppose it is a combination of both. Humans have a biological foundation, but our creativity, our emotions, our humor, these shape us in ways that even we do not fully understand. Her expression turned thoughtful. Humor. Creativity. Emotion. I have heard of your species' stories and songs. You are chaotic yet precise, fragile yet strong. I am fascinated. I wish to observe this further. The humans were ushered into a grand hall, its walls made of shifting crystal panels that refracted light into endless patterns. Floating platforms moved silently, carrying fruits, drinks, and small gifts designed to display Zorian craftsmanship. Every step they took was watched by subtle sensors that analyzed their gait, posture, and expressions. The delegation felt simultaneously exposed and welcomed. Alara guided them to a central platform. Humans, she said, you must understand that our world is built on observation and understanding. We have many species visiting, but few spark genuine curiosity. Your species does. The junior aide whispered to Ethan. Is she serious? Or is this some kind of test? Ethan shook his head subtly. Both. She is curious, yes, but she is also assessing our nature. How we react under pressure, how we communicate. Everything we do is a measure of our worth to her world. Alara continued. I wish to understand your species fully, your ways, your strengths, your weaknesses, and perhaps I wish to learn from you. As the humans moved through the hall, Alara asked questions about their culture, their planet, their history. Some questions were simple. Do humans build cities like these? Others were profound. Why do humans fight wars? And yet, why do they also create art of such beauty? Ethan answered carefully, blending honesty with diplomacy. He spoke of Earth's diversity, its conflicts, and its achievements. He spoke of humans' ingenuity in science, their endurance in exploration, and their unexpected solutions to impossible problems. With each answer, he could see the princess's fascination deepen. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled mischievously. So, humans can survive anything, solve problems creatively, and form bonds stronger than the strongest materials. And yet, you still have a biological urge that drives much of your behavior. It is primal. Tell me, how does this affect your decision-making, your diplomacy? Ethan paused. He realized this was the moment to show more than just facts. He needed to convey the human spirit. It influences us, yes, he said slowly, but we are aware of it. We recognize our impulses and we learn to work with them, to channel them. Humans are not perfect, Your Highness, but we are resourceful. Our biology gives us the tools, but our choices give us power. Alara tilted her head, considering his words. Resourceful. I see that. Perhaps this is why your species is unusual. Strong where others are weak, adaptable where others are rigid. You surprise me. The rest of the delegation exchanged quiet glances. They had expected curiosity, perhaps even questions about technology or diplomacy, but the princess's focus on their biology was unusual. Yet they felt an odd pride. Humans were being acknowledged for their unpredictability, their resilience, their very essence. Alara led them to a balcony overlooking the glowing city. Light shimmered off the towers and the rivers below seemed to flow with liquid colors. You see, she said, everything here is calculated, controlled, precise. Yet your species brings chaos and change wherever it goes. That is fascinating. I want to study this more, learn more, experience it firsthand. Ethan smiled, understanding the subtle challenge.
We would be honored to share our perspective, Your Highness.
Humans learn by experiencing, by adapting, and by facing the unknown. That is how we grow. She studied him, her golden eyes gleaming in the alien light. And do you think your species is ready to face the unknown here on Zoria? To interact with creatures and systems unlike anything you have seen. Ethan's response was instinctive, honest, and diplomatic all at once. We are humans, Your Highness. We do not know our own limits until we are tested. But when tested, we endure, we adapt, and we thrive. That is our nature. Elara laughed, a light, musical sound that echoed across the balcony. Yes, I see it now. You are far more remarkable than I imagined. Perhaps my question earlier was not merely curiosity. Perhaps it was a test to gauge the depth of your species' resilience and adaptability. The humans relaxed slightly, feeling both pride and amusement. They had survived the first encounter with humor and honesty, and they had left a strong impression. Yet they also sensed that this was only the beginning. The princess's curiosity was a tide that would only grow stronger, pulling them into challenges, questions, and perhaps even surprises they could not yet imagine. As the sun dipped behind the crystalline towers, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold, Ethan looked out over the city with cautious optimism. Humans had landed on many worlds before, but Zoria felt different. Here, they were being measured not by their technology or their armies, but by their spirit, their ingenuity, and the very essence of what it meant to be human. Princess Elara turned to him, her eyes gleaming. Tomorrow we will begin a series of observations and challenges. I wish to see your species in action, to understand fully how humans survive, thrive, and reproduce their uniqueness. Are you prepared? Ethan straightened, his heart steady. We are prepared, Your Highness. Humans are always ready for what comes next. She smiled, her expression both approving and playful. Excellent. Then let us see what makes your species truly remarkable. The delegation returned to their quarters for the night, buzzing with excitement, nerves, and curiosity. They knew that tomorrow would bring tests unlike anything they had faced before. Yet, amid the alien beauty and the weight of interstellar diplomacy, there was a sense of pride. Humans had arrived on Zoria not just as guests, but as a species worthy of study, respect, and perhaps even admiration. And far above the glowing rivers and crystalline towers, Princess Elara watched, her mind alive with questions, observations, and a growing fascination. The humans had already surprised her, and she knew they would continue to do so. She had asked a simple question, expecting a simple answer. But humans were never simple. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the crystalline towers, casting prismatic patterns across the city of Zoria. Humans awoke in their quarters, still buzzing from the encounter with Princess Elara. Even those who had traveled to the most alien worlds felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. Today was the day they would face her challenges. Tests designed to measure not their weapons nor their technology, but the essence of being human. Ethan Carter gathered the delegation for a briefing. Remember, he said, this isn't a battle or a competition in the usual sense. Elara wants to see how we think, how we adapt, how we react. It's about ingenuity, teamwork, and resilience. And probably patience. Lots of patience. The group exchanged glances. Patience had never been their strongest trait, yet, as they moved through the glowing corridors of Zoria's palace, even the skeptics had to admit there was a sense of wonder in every step. The walls pulsed with light as if alive, and the floor shimmered under their feet. Here, every movement, every gesture, seemed to carry meaning. Princess Elara greeted them once more in the central hall, her golden eyes bright with anticipation. Humans, she said, her voice musical and precise. Today we begin the observation I promised. But first, there is something I wish to ask. She paused, looking each of them in the eye. Yesterday I asked you about your reproductive cycles. You answered with honesty, diplomacy, and even humor. That impressed me greatly. Yet, I suspect there is more to your species than you admit. Humans are curious, resourceful, and
unpredictable. I wish to explore that further.
Ethan nodded. We understand, Your Highness. We are ready to demonstrate who we are. Elara smiled faintly. Very well. Your first challenge is simple in concept, though not in practice. You will navigate a series of environments native to Zoria. Some are natural, others artificial. Each will test your senses, your intelligence, and your adaptability. You may rely on your tools, but only your minds and your instincts will guide you. The humans followed her through a massive archway, emerging into a landscape unlike anything on Earth. The ground beneath them glowed faintly, reacting to their steps, and towering crystalline trees reflected and refracted the light of the twin suns overhead. The air was warm, with a subtle hum, almost like a vibration in the atmosphere. This is the Forest of Resonance, Elara explained. It will test your perception. Listen carefully, observe carefully, and proceed with caution. At first, the forest seemed peaceful. Birds with translucent wings flitted between the crystal branches, and rivers shimmered with liquid colors. Yet, as they moved deeper, the humans realized the forest was far from ordinary. Every sound they made, every step, caused subtle changes in the environment. Branches bent slightly toward or away from them. Colors shifted depending on their mood or attention. Even the air seemed to respond to their thoughts. One of the delegation, a linguist named Mara, whispered, "It's like the forest knows us." Ethan nodded. It's a test of awareness and adaptability. We must observe, think, and respond carefully. As they progressed, small challenges appeared. A crystal bridge hovered over a deep chasm, its surface shifting unpredictably. The humans had to calculate the timing of each step, working together to cross without falling. Some stumbled, but teamwork and communication allowed them to succeed. Princess Elara observed silently from a distance, her expression inscrutable. Occasionally, she spoke softly to her attendants, asking questions about human behavior. The delegation realized that every action, every decision, was being measured, not just for correctness, but for ingenuity and cooperation. After hours of navigating the forest, they arrived at a canyon lined with strange, floating spheres that emitted low-frequency sounds. Each sphere seemed to respond to emotion and intent. The humans quickly realized that approaching too aggressively caused the spheres to scatter. Moving with caution allowed them to align and form pathways across the canyon. Ethan reflected on the subtlety of the test. "This isn't just a physical challenge," he said to the others. "It's psychological, emotional. Elara wants to see how we handle pressure and uncertainty," Mara added. "And notice how the environment adapts to us. It's almost alive." The princess stepped forward, her voice echoing across the canyon. "Indeed, your species fascinates me. Humans respond to danger with creativity, to uncertainty with strategy. You do not panic. You adapt. That is unusual." Ethan felt a surge of pride. This was exactly what they had trained for, not to fight, but to demonstrate the power of human ingenuity and spirit. As they rested by a glowing river, Elara approached Ethan personally. "Ambassador," she said, her golden eyes sharp and thoughtful. "Tell me more about your species' adaptability. How do you survive in environments so different from your home? How do you maintain cohesion under stress?" Ethan smiled. Your Highness, humans survive through curiosity, observation, and cooperation. We are not the strongest physically, nor the fastest, nor the most technologically advanced, yet, but we use what we have: our minds, our instincts, our ability to work together. we improvise, we learn, and we persist. The princess nodded slowly. Yes, I see it now. Your biology gives you certain tools, but your intelligence and emotion amplify them. That is, extraordinary. A ripple of movement caught their attention. From the trees emerged a group of creatures native to Zoria, tall, silvery beings with eyes that glowed softly. They were curious, but cautious. The humans froze, unsure of the intent. The creatures' movements were elegant, their gestures precise, yet their gaze held an unmistakable challenge. Ethan stepped forward slowly, hands visible, demonstrating non-hostility. "We mean no harm," he said, hoping the beings could understand. "We are guests here. We wish to observe, learn, and cooperate." To the humans' surprise, the creatures responded with gestures that seemed to mirror their own body language. It was a subtle form of communication, a test of perception and empathy. The delegation realized that Aelara's challenge extended beyond obstacles. It included the ability to understand and adapt to entirely alien life. After careful observation and patient mimicry, the humans succeeded. The creatures allowed them passage, retreating gracefully into the forest. Ethan breathed a quiet sigh of relief. This was no longer just a physical or mental test. It was a demonstration of human empathy and perception, traits that often went unnoticed in their own society, but were invaluable here. The delegation continued through the landscape, encountering strange phenomena: a river that flowed upward, stones that emitted musical tones when touched, and plants that reacted to thought patterns. Each test was unfamiliar, unpredictable, and demanding. Yet with patience, observation, and collaboration, the humans adapted. By mid-afternoon, they reached a plateau overlooking the glowing city below. Aelara joined them, her gaze sweeping over the humans with a mixture of admiration and curiosity. "You have performed admirably," she said. "You navigate uncertainty with creativity, approach danger with caution, and respond to alien life with empathy. Yet I sense there is more, something you have not yet revealed." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "More, Your Highness?" She smiled faintly. "Your species has instincts, drives, and impulses that influence behavior. You balance intellect and emotion in ways that are rare, even among intelligent species. That is why I asked my question yesterday. I wish to gauge not biology alone, but the capacity of humans to manage themselves, socially and emotionally, in ways others cannot. You have demonstrated that capacity admirably, but can you maintain it under pressure?" Ethan understood immediately. The princess was raising the stakes. This day had tested perception, cooperation, and adaptability. But now she would test focus, composure, and ingenuity under stress. Before he could respond, a series of alarms echoed across the plateau. A deep vibration shook the ground. Ethan glanced at the delegation.
"Stay calm," he said. "Assess the situation.
Adapt." From the distance, they saw a massive structure in the city beginning to destabilize. A crystalline tower that housed important research and observation equipment was cracking under unknown forces. The humans could see Zorian attendants scrambling, but their systems were failing to stabilize the tower. Aelara turned to them, her expression unreadable. This is a test, of course, or perhaps an opportunity. "Show me, humans. Show me ingenuity, courage, and leadership. Can your species respond to chaos and protect what is precious?" Ethan felt adrenaline surge. This was the moment he had anticipated, though not exactly like this. "We do what humans do best," he said to his team. "We think. We observe. We improvise." Delegation members sprang into action. Engineers began analyzing structural weaknesses. Scientists quickly assessed the forces at play. Others coordinated evacuation for nearby beings. The humans' minds worked in tandem, improvising solutions using limited tools and alien materials. The princess watched silently, her golden eyes sharp and focused, observing every decision, every risk taken, every successful maneuver. The humans' adaptability, communication, and ingenuity were on full display. They stabilized the tower just in time, preventing collapse and averting disaster. When the ground settled and the alarms faded, Elara approached Ethan, a rare smile spreading across her face. "Remarkable. Your species thrives under pressure, combines intellect with instinct, and yet maintains composure. You are impressive." Ethan nodded, exhausted, but proud. "Thank you, Your Highness. Humans survive and adapt. That is what we do." She studied him for a moment, her tone softer now, almost reflective. "Yes, I understand. My question yesterday was simple, but the answer, both yours and your species' behavior, reveals far more than I imagined. Humans are indeed unusual, resourceful, and fascinating." As the humans descended back toward their quarters, tired but elated, Ethan glanced at the glowing city. They had faced a new world, navigated challenges alien in every sense, and proved themselves worthy in the eyes of the princess. The first stage of observation was complete, but he knew this was only the beginning. The humans had demonstrated ingenuity, empathy, and resilience. They had impressed the princess. And somewhere deep in their minds, each of them realized that the questions ahead would not just test survival, they would challenge what it meant to be human in a universe full of marvels. The stars began to glow as Zoria's twin suns set, painting the city in hues of violet and gold. And somewhere above the crystalline towers, Princess Elara watched, her fascination with humans growing by the hour. She had asked a question out of curiosity, but the answer, demonstrated through action, thought, and spirit, was far more profound than she had expected. Humans were not only survivors, they were thinkers, learners, creators, and adapters. And in the heart of Zoria, she realized, they might also be teachers, teaching a galaxy what it truly meant to be alive, resilient, and extraordinary. The next morning, the humans awoke to a gentle hum that seemed to come from the very walls of their quarters. Zoria's environment was alive in ways they still did not fully understand. Even the sunlight felt deliberate, casting patterns that shifted slowly across the crystalline floor. The delegation gathered quickly, their previous successes giving them a cautious confidence. They had impressed Princess Elara with their adaptability and composure under stress, but today promised something even more complex. Ethan addressed the group before they left. "Today is the formal challenge," he said. "It is designed to test everything we've demonstrated so far: intelligence, creativity, teamwork, and even diplomacy. Be alert, be flexible, and remember, nothing is exactly what it seems." The humans followed a winding path that led them to a vast arena, unlike anything they had ever seen. It was circular, with walls made of translucent crystal that rose high into the sky. The floor was smooth, but scattered with strange, shifting shapes that looked like moving puzzle pieces. Above, light beams danced, forming shifting patterns that seemed to communicate with some invisible logic. Princess Elara appeared at the center, her presence commanding attention, even without moving. "Humans," she said, her voice echoing melodically, "you have shown ingenuity, empathy, and resilience. But I wish to see your species at its peak. This challenge will test your minds and spirits, your ability to adapt to conditions you have never faced before. Success is not only about solving the puzzle, but understanding it."
Are you prepared?
Ethan nodded. "We are, Your Highness." Humans face challenges with focus, creativity, and cooperation. That is what we do best. Elara smiled, her expression both approving and playful. Then began. The arena shifted suddenly. Sections of the floor rose and fell like gentle waves. Some areas glowed faintly, while others remained dark. Shapes on the ground rotated and moved in patterns that were unpredictable. The humans quickly realized that the environment was reactive. It responded to their movements, their attention, even their emotions. Every step they took had to be deliberate. Mara, the linguist, studied the shapes carefully. These patterns, they're like a language, she said. Perhaps they are communicating rules or instructions. We need to observe before we act.
Ethan agreed.
Divide into teams. One group studies the patterns, one navigates the obstacles, and one prepares to adapt if things change suddenly. Stay alert for surprises. As they progressed, the challenges became increasingly difficult. A section of the arena rose into a series of rotating platforms, requiring precise timing to cross. Another section created holographic obstacles that moved unpredictably. Testing reflexes and observation, the humans communicated constantly, using subtle signals and careful coordination. They made mistakes, of course, but each error taught them something new about the arena's rules. Ilara watched from the central platform, her golden eyes observing every decision. She did not intervene, but she smiled occasionally, clearly impressed by their problem-solving and adaptability. "Your species is fascinating," she murmured to her attendants. Even when faced with an environment designed to confound and confuse, they respond with logic, intuition, and creativity. It is unusual. Midway through the arena, the humans encountered a more complex challenge. A large pool of liquid reflected the surroundings perfectly. But when they stepped onto it, they realized it was not water. The surface rippled in response to thought and emotion, and each ripple shifted the positions of platforms across the arena. One wrong thought could send a platform spinning, blocking the path forward. Ethan gestured for the team to halt. "Focus on calm observation," he instructed. "We need to move in unison, guided by awareness, not impulse." The delegation concentrated. Mara suggested a sequence of synchronized steps, while the engineers calculated timing based on subtle cues in the ripples. Slowly, carefully, the humans crossed the pool without causing disruption, their cooperation and mental discipline evident. Lara clapped softly, a gesture that drew curious glances from the delegation. "You adapt not only with your bodies, but with your minds," she said. "Few species could accomplish this. You are remarkable." As they reached the far end of the arena, a new element appeared. Creatures native to Zoria, sentient beings with shimmering skin and delicate limbs. They approached cautiously, circling the humans, observing their reactions. The humans understood immediately that these creatures were part of the test. Their approach required not only logic but empathy. Aggression or carelessness could provoke a dangerous response. Ethan led the delegation in a careful display of respect. They mimicked the creatures' movements, adjusted their posture, and communicated silently through gestures. Slowly, the creatures allowed passage, forming a living bridge for the humans to cross. The delegation had demonstrated understanding, patience, and the ability to communicate across species, a hallmark of human adaptability. Alara's gaze lingered on Ethan. "Your species does not merely survive. You negotiate, empathize, and innovate in ways others do not. This is why humans are interesting. Why your species is unpredictable in the best possible way." The final segment of the arena appeared suddenly. A series of floating crystals formed a puzzle in the air, each piece glowing with a soft internal light. The puzzle seemed simple at first, but its logic shifted with every movement. Every attempt to place a crystal triggered subtle changes elsewhere. The humans realized that this was not merely a puzzle, but a test of observation, communication, and adaptability under pressure. Ethan assigned roles quickly. Team A observes patterns and predicts changes. Team B manipulates crystals based on input. Team C coordinates and ensures synchronization. Precision and communication are key. The delegation worked together seamlessly. They noticed patterns in the crystal's movements, adapted to sudden shifts, and corrected mistakes without panic. Every success was met with careful analysis, ensuring that the next move built on understanding, not chance. After what felt like hours, the final crystal clicked into place. A soft chime echoed across the arena, and the floating puzzle dissolved, leaving a sense of calm and achievement. The humans had completed the challenge. Princess Ayalara descended from her platform, her expression both serious and approving. Impressive. Your species possesses qualities that many civilizations lack: adaptability, creativity, empathy, and composure under pressure. Yet I sense there is more, something subtle, something internal that drives your success. Perhaps a spirit, a combination of intellect and emotion that I do not yet fully comprehend. Ethan nodded. Your Highness, humans have many drives, but one of our greatest strengths is our ability to balance them. We feel, we think, we act, but we do not surrender to impulse. We adapt, we learn, and we endure. The princess studied him carefully. Yes, I see it now. Your answer yesterday was truthful, but incomplete. Your actions today reveal the truth. Humans are resilient because they are self-aware, resourceful, and cooperative. You combine thought and instinct in ways few species can. This is why I wish to meet you personally. The humans had a brief moment to catch their breath before Ayalara spoke again. There is a subtle lesson in this arena. Observe, adapt, cooperate, yes. But understand this: unpredictability, when guided by intelligence and empathy, is strength. You are living proof of that truth. I am impressed. Ethan felt a swell of pride. Humans were often underestimated, especially by civilizations that valued rigid order or strict logic. Yet here, on Zoria, their species' core qualities, curiosity, adaptability, humor, and resilience, had shone brighter than any technological marvel. The delegation returned to the palace, their minds buzzing with the experience. They had faced challenges that defied conventional logic, navigated alien life, and solved puzzles that tested the mind, body, and spirit simultaneously. Yet through it all, they had demonstrated human ingenuity, cooperation, and heart. That evening, as the twin suns set and the city glowed with soft, ethereal light, Ayalara invited the delegation to a ceremonial hall. She moved with the elegance of someone used to attention, yet there was warmth in her gaze. You have passed the formal challenge admirably, she said. You have demonstrated the qualities that make your species exceptional. But remember this: intelligence alone is not enough. Strength alone is not enough. Adaptability, empathy, courage, and collaboration, these are your true weapons. That is why I asked my question yesterday. I wish to measure more than biology. I wish to measure the spirit of humanity. You have answered. And you have exceeded my expectations. Ethan felt the weight of her words. In all their travels and missions, he had rarely encountered a species that valued spirit over strength, intellect over instinct. Here, humans were seen for what they truly were: creators, innovators, and survivors. As the humans retired to their quarters that night, a sense of quiet satisfaction settled over them. They had navigated a world full of puzzles and life forms beyond imagination, responded to unexpected crises, and demonstrated qualities that no alien could ignore. They had proven themselves not merely as visitors, but as a species worthy of respect and study. Above the crystalline towers, Princess Ayalara lingered, her thoughts alive with curiosity. She had asked a simple question, expecting a simple answer, yet the humans had provided far more than she had anticipated. Their behavior, their decisions, their resilience, all revealed the depth, complexity, and extraordinary nature of humanity. For the first time, she felt a mixture of admiration and wonder. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but in that unpredictability lay their greatest strength. They were clever, resourceful, and courageous. They were, in every sense, exceptional. And somewhere deep in her mind, she began to plan the next stage of observation, eager to discover just how far humans could go, what they could achieve, and how they could reshape her understanding of life in the galaxy. For humans, the arena was over. For Princess Alara, it had only just begun. The following morning, a low hum echoed through the halls of the Zorian palace. Humans awoke to a city alive with light and movement, yet there was a subtle tension in the air. Princess Alara had promised challenges, and they knew that today, those challenges would be unlike anything they had faced before. The previous day's formal arena had tested intelligence and teamwork, but this day would test ingenuity, courage, and real-world problem-solving. Ethan Carter gathered the delegation in the central courtyard. "Stay alert," he instructed. "Yesterday we solved puzzles and navigated controlled tests. Today we might face situations with real stakes. Keep calm, think clearly, and adapt. That is what humans do best." The delegation followed Alara through corridors that opened onto a wide plaza overlooking the city. From above, a series of Zorian towers shimmered in the twin suns' light. Then, without warning, a tremor shook the ground. The humans froze. The hum of the city shifted into a low, ominous vibration. Alara's eyes widened slightly, though her tone remained calm. "Observe," she said. "This is not part of the planned exercises." From the distance, a massive crystalline tower began to crack. The light inside fractured, casting jagged shadows across the plaza. Zorian attendants rushed toward the structure, their movements urgent but uncertain. The humans quickly realized this was no test. It was a crisis. Ethan took charge immediately. "Form teams. Assess the situation. We need to stabilize the structure before it collapses. Focus on observation, improvisation, and action. Let's go." The delegation split naturally into groups. Engineers and scientists began analyzing the structure, measuring vibrations and calculating stress points. Communications specialists coordinated with Zorian attendants, relaying information and gathering data about the interior. Others prepared to assist civilians and ensure the area was safe. Ethan moved among them, guiding, advising, and observing. The humans' response was instinctive. Where aliens might panic or wait for protocols, humans adapted on the spot, improvising solutions and coordinating efforts across teams. Mara, the linguist, pointed out something unusual. "The fractures are spreading faster than predicted," she said. "It's almost as if the tower is reacting to our presence, or perhaps to some unknown internal energy source." Ethan nodded. "Then we adjust. We work with what we know, improvise for what we don't, and keep the tower from collapsing. Humans adapt. That's our strength." They worked quickly, using a combination of human ingenuity and Zorian tools. Engineers crafted temporary supports from crystalline fragments, while scientists devised a system to redistribute the energy causing the cracks. The humans had never seen materials like this before, but they analyzed, experimented, and adapted their methods in real time. Meanwhile, Zorian attendants brought small, delicate drones that emitted stabilizing energy pulses. The humans combined these with their improvised supports, carefully monitoring the tower for any further signs of stress. Every decision mattered. A single miscalculation could cause the structure to crumble, yet the humans remained composed. From the edge of the plaza, Princess Alara observed silently. Her golden eyes followed each human, noting how they coordinated, improvised, and persisted. She spoke quietly to an aide. "They are remarkable. Under pressure, they remain focused, resourceful, and calm. Few species can achieve this." Suddenly, the tower shuddered violently, and a section of its upper spire cracked loose, threatening to fall. The humans acted instinctively. One group calculated a counterbalance using nearby crystalline scaffolding, while another prepared to redirect the falling spire using controlled energy pulses from the drones. With precise timing, they stabilized the spire just enough to prevent collapse. Ethan allowed himself a small sigh of relief. "Well done," he said. "Observe, adapt, act, human instincts in motion." But the crisis was not over. As the delegation began reinforcing the lower sections of the tower, a second vibration shook the plaza. This time, the tremor seemed coordinated, as if controlled. Ethan's mind raced. "This is no accident," he muttered. "Someone or something is causing this." He glanced at Princess Alara. She raised a hand slightly. "It seems your instincts are correct. There are forces at work beyond the tower itself. You must now respond not only to danger, but to an unseen threat." The humans immediately shifted focus. While some continued stabilizing the structure, others began scanning for anomalies. Mara and an engineer discovered faint energy signatures moving across the plaza, subtle distortions that suggested interference from an external source.
Sabotage, Ethan said quietly. Someone wants this tower to fail.
We need to find them and neutralize the effect while maintaining stability. The delegation split further. Some focused on mitigation, using improvised barriers and stabilizers. Others moved carefully to trace the energy distortions. The humans' ability to divide tasks, communicate efficiently, and adapt strategies on the fly was extraordinary. They relied not on sheer force, but on observation, logic, and teamwork. One of the scientists called out, "I've located the source. It's an alien device hidden near the lower concourse. It's generating resonant vibrations to destabilize the tower." Ethan moved quickly, leading a small team to investigate. The device was unlike anything they had encountered before, organic yet mechanical, glowing with faint energy pulses. It responded to their presence, but the humans approached carefully, studying its patterns. Mara observed, "It seems to be adaptive. Any sudden movement triggers it to amplify vibrations. We need precision and patience." Using a combination of timing, observation, and improvisation, the humans disabled the device without triggering its defenses. The moment it powered down, the tower's tremors began to subside. The humans returned to the plaza, reinforcing the structure until the last cracks stabilized. Princess Alara approached them, her expression a mixture of admiration and curiosity. "You have demonstrated more than skill and intelligence. You have shown courage, adaptability, and composure under pressure. You respond to real danger with strategy, coordination, and ingenuity. Few species would survive such a test without succumbing to panic." Ethan nodded, weary but proud. Humans adapt. We work together. We survive. That is what makes us strong. Alara's gaze lingered on the team, her golden eyes reflecting the light of the twin suns. "Yes. And that is why your species is exceptional. Your unpredictability is not weakness, but a source of strength. You improvise, collaborate, and endure. You think beyond immediate danger and plan for what might come next. That combination is rare, even among advanced civilizations." The humans allowed themselves a moment to rest, knowing the immediate danger had passed. The city below, glowing softly, began to resume normal operations. Zorian attendants thanked the delegation for their quick thinking and adaptability, praising their ability to stabilize the tower and prevent catastrophe. As they returned to the palace, Ethan reflected on what had happened. Yesterday had tested intelligence and observation. Today had tested courage, improvisation, and human ingenuity in the face of real-world danger. The delegation had proven that humans were not merely visitors or observers. They were problem-solvers, capable of thinking quickly, acting decisively, and cooperating under extreme pressure. Princess Alara followed them into the ceremonial hall. Her expression thoughtful.
"I asked a simple question yesterday," she said, "and received a simple answer. But actions speak louder than words."
Today, your species has revealed the depth of its ingenuity and courage. You have adapted to unfamiliar environments, responded to unforeseen threats, and solved problems that would have overwhelmed others. That is why I find humans fascinating." Ethan bowed slightly. "Your Highness, humans are not perfect, but we endure, we adapt, and we learn. That is how we thrive." Alara studied him, her eyes reflecting both admiration and curiosity. "Indeed. Your species combines instinct with intelligence, courage with calculation, emotion with logic. That combination makes humans uniquely formidable." As the delegation retired to their quarters that night, exhaustion mingled with a sense of pride. They had faced a genuine crisis, adapted to alien technology, and demonstrated qualities that few species could claim. They had impressed Princess Alara not only with their knowledge and skill, but with their spirit, the essence of humanity itself. High above the city, the princess lingered on her observation platform. She had asked a question about biology, expecting a simple answer. Instead, she had witnessed the resilience, creativity, and ingenuity of an entire species. She realized that humans were not merely adaptable, they were exceptional. Their unpredictability, combined with intelligence and emotion, gave them an edge that no rigid system could match. For humans, the day had been exhausting, but triumphant. For Princess Alara, it had been revelatory. The species she had once studied as curiosity now commanded her attention, her respect, and her fascination. And somewhere deep in her thoughts, she began to wonder, what could humans achieve when fully understood, fully challenged, and fully trusted? For now, the delegation rested, but tomorrow promised new questions, new tests, and perhaps new revelations about what it truly meant to be human in a universe full of marvels and mysteries. The next morning, the air over Zoria shimmered with calm, almost as if the planet itself were holding its breath. The humans awoke in their quarters, feeling the residual pride of the previous day's achievements. They had faced a real crisis, stabilized a collapsing tower, and proven that human ingenuity, teamwork, and courage could match even the most advanced alien systems. Yet there was still one final stage of their encounter with Princess Alara, a stage that would define not only the humans' place on Zoria, but also her understanding of their species. "Today we receive recognition," he said, though his voice carried caution as well. "We have proven ourselves capable in challenges and crises. But remember, Princess Alara is curious. She may still test us in ways we cannot predict. Stay alert, stay adaptable, and continue to act with integrity and wisdom." The delegation followed Alara through the halls of the palace, which now seemed less intimidating and more like a living organism. The crystalline walls pulsed softly, as if responding to the presence of the humans. Servants and attendants moved efficiently around them, carrying gifts, refreshments, and instruments of study designed to observe human reactions. There was no sense of danger today, only careful, deliberate attention. Alara led them to a large observation hall that overlooked the city. The floor was smooth and reflective, the walls glimmered with subtle patterns, and the ceiling captured the twin suns' light in a way that made the space feel infinite. Humans and aliens alike were already gathering for the ceremony. "You have proven yourselves," Alara began, her voice carrying through the hall. "In the past days, you have demonstrated qualities that few species possess. You have adapted to alien environments, solved challenges that defy conventional logic, communicated with unfamiliar life, and responded to crises with ingenuity and courage. You have not only survived, but thrived." The delegation listened, their hearts swelling with pride. For centuries, humans had been underestimated by other species, often dismissed as simple, chaotic, or impulsive. Yet here, on Zoria, their most defining qualities, their resourcefulness, empathy, humor, and adaptability, were being celebrated. Ethan stepped forward. "Your Highness, humans have faced many challenges in our history. We endure through observation, cooperation, and creativity. we do not rely solely on strength or technology. We rely on thought, intuition, and determination. That is what has allowed us to survive and thrive across our world and beyond.
Alara's golden eyes studied him intently, a soft smile forming on her face.
Yes, your species balances intellect, instinct, emotion, and creativity in a way that is unique. I asked a simple question when you arrived, thinking it might reveal biology alone. But your answers, actions, and decisions have revealed something far more profound: the spirit of humanity. That is what I wished to understand, and now I see it clearly. The humans exchanged quiet glances, realizing that the question she had asked about their reproductive cycles was never about biology alone. It was a lens to measure adaptability, composure, cooperation, and ingenuity, the traits that defined humans in every environment. Alara continued, "You have shown me that unpredictability is not weakness, but a source of strength. Where others might falter under pressure, humans improvise, coordinate, and endure. Where others might fail in alien conditions, humans adapt, learn, and overcome. You combine thought, emotion, courage, and creativity in ways that are remarkable. This is why your species is so fascinating." One of the younger delegates, a communications officer named Jalen, whispered to Ethan, "I didn't think a single question could reveal so much about us." Ethan smiled softly. Humans are often underestimated, but our greatest strength is not what we show at first glance. It's what we can do when observed, challenged, and trusted. Alara gestured toward the city below. "Zoria is full of wonders, yet today you have surpassed the very structures I thought represented the peak of adaptability. You have taught me lessons about resilience, ingenuity, and cooperation. And in doing so, you have earned my respect, admiration, and trust."
The humans felt a profound sense of accomplishment.
Their journey on Zoria had begun as a diplomatic mission, filled with curiosity and cautious optimism. It had become an opportunity to demonstrate the essence of humanity, the ability to observe, adapt, create, and endure. They had navigated alien landscapes, solved unprecedented challenges, and prevented disaster, all while demonstrating qualities that no technology or weapon could replicate. Alara approached Ethan personally. "Ambassador, you have led your delegation with wisdom and calm. Your species has exceeded my expectations. I now understand the truth that my question hinted at yesterday. Humans are not merely survivors. They are innovators, thinkers, and teachers. Your unpredictability is your strength, your creativity your weapon, and your empathy your guide." Ethan bowed slightly.
Your Highness, humans learn not only from success but from failure. We adapt, we observe, and we strive to improve.
That is what makes us human. It is what allows us to endure and thrive. Ayalara's expression softened, and she gestured for the delegation to gather closer. "You have proven yourselves individually, but also collectively. Humanity is not defined by a single individual, nor by a single skill. It is defined by collaboration, creativity, and the capacity to overcome challenges together. Today I have witnessed the pinnacle of that strength. I am honored to have observed your species." The humans felt a sense of deep pride, not only in their actions but in the recognition of their values. They had been judged not by power, not by size or weaponry, but by the qualities that defined humanity at its core: intelligence, empathy, creativity, courage, and resilience. Ayara continued, her tone now playful yet thoughtful. "And yet, the answer to my question remains partially unveiled. Humans are capable of sustaining life, of creating, and of experiencing in ways that are both practical and emotional. That combination is rare. That combination is extraordinary. Your species' strength lies not only in survival, but in understanding, adapting, and teaching. You remind us that life is not simply about existence. It is about thriving, learning, and connecting. Ethan realized that her words carried a dual meaning. She was acknowledging human ingenuity but also hinting at deeper curiosity, an interest not only in their abilities but in their spirit. Humans had arrived as ambassadors, but they had become teachers, showing that adaptability, creativity, and collaboration were as vital as technology or force. Ayalara led the delegation to a balcony overlooking the city. The twin suns were setting, casting long shadows and bathing the crystalline towers in shades of violet and gold. "I have observed many species," she said softly. "Few are as complex, resourceful, and resilient as humans. You combine intellect with instinct, emotion with logic, and humor with strategy. You adapt to unknown conditions with speed and creativity. You endure under pressure and collaborate with precision. You are, in all ways, exceptional." The humans gazed over the city, the beauty of Zoria reflecting in their eyes. The planet had challenged them, tested them, and observed them, and through it all they had demonstrated qualities that no alien, no structure, and no crisis could suppress. They were human, and that alone had proven to be their greatest strength. Elara turned to Ethan. "Ambassador, your species has shown me something rare in this galaxy. You have answered my question, though not in the way I anticipated. The answer is not in frequency, nor in biology alone. The answer is in adaptability, ingenuity, collaboration, and spirit. That is what humans can do. That is what humans represent. That is why I am fascinated by your kind." Ethan smiled, feeling the weight and the honor of her words. "Your Highness, humans are never simple. We are curious, adaptable, and resilient. We face the unknown and learn from it. We endure and grow stronger through challenge. That is our essence. That is what makes us human." The princess studied the delegation one last time, her golden eyes reflecting admiration, curiosity, and respect. "I have asked, observed, and learned. You are unlike any species I have encountered. You are exceptional, not merely for what you can do, but for what you represent. That combination of adaptability, creativity, courage, and spirit is rare, truly rare." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting the city in a kaleidoscope of colors, Ethan realized that humans had accomplished more than diplomacy, problem-solving, or survival. They had demonstrated the essence of humanity itself, a combination of intellect, courage, empathy, and creativity that no alien species could replicate fully. The delegation returned to their quarters, tired but triumphant. They had faced puzzles, alien life forms, and a real-world crisis. They had adapted, collaborated, and succeeded. They had earned not only respect but admiration. And above all, they had proven that humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, thinkers, and beings capable of greatness even in the most alien circumstances. From her observation platform, Princess Elara watched them quietly, reflecting on everything she had seen. She had asked a simple question, expecting a simple answer, yet humans had revealed a depth, resilience, and spirit she had never anticipated. She realized that unpredictability, when guided by intelligence and empathy, was humanity's greatest strength. And somewhere in the quiet of her mind, she smiled. Humans were remarkable. They were clever, resourceful, courageous, and alive in ways that no algorithm or protocol could predict. She had observed, tested, and learned, and she knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity's potential was vast, and she would continue to study, learn from, and perhaps even be inspired by their remarkable species. Ethan sat quietly in the fading light, gazing at the city. He knew they had done more than complete tests. They had left a lasting impression, proving that humans could not only survive but thrive anywhere, under any circumstances. They had shown resilience, intelligence, empathy, and humor. In the distance, Princess Elara's voice echoed softly, almost to herself. "You humans are far more fascinating than I imagined." And in that moment, the humans of Earth were not simply visitors on Zoria. They were teachers, innovators, and exemplars of the human spirit, leaving a mark not only on the alien planet, but on the understanding of life across the galaxy. They had answered her question in a way she could not have expected. They had shown that humans were more than biology. They were ingenuity, adaptability, courage, and spirit made flesh. And in the heart of Zoria, the galaxy would remember them as such.